so deep, it got me in my feelings, yeah. Said the same motherfucker hating on me last week. I've been running around and sitting, no patience. We are so close, like a motherfucking taste it. Came a long way from the motherfucking basement. Working overtime, so no wonder why I wonder where the day went.
What is going on, guys? This is Platinum Point, and I'm here to bring you guys yet again another Weiss Schwarz deck profile. This time it's going to be on my Data Life deck. I decided to showcase a post Banlist Data Life deck, and this deck list is a byproduct of weeks, heck, even practically almost 2 months of testing. When we found out about this ban list, I decided I would spend time while I'm testing the meta builds of the newer sets like Mushoku Tensei, Hololive, and even future-proofing future sets. I decided to test Data Live and see what I can do to make the deck function in a post-ban list meta. And I came down to the conclusion that since we can't do 8 standby anymore, because the meta has gotten to a point where it's a lot more aggressive. Even decks like Mushoku Tensei, which the predominant build is 8 standby, is far more aggressive than any other 8 standby deck out there, since it takes advantage of wanting to trigger standby via the effects that give their characters twin drive, as well as being able to pull out those big aggressive board states. So since Dow doesn't have all the resources anymore, since we are literally in a choose one out of 3 cards, which are the Search Brainstorm, the Yoshino 1-1, and the Toko 1-0, you can't effectively build 8 standby without making concessions there, and oftentimes you do still lose out in those matchups. So I wanted to kind of gear the deck in a different way. Instead of playing very defensively and winning advantage that way, I decided to kind of go back to a kind of what made Kaguya such a scary deck, which is that it played like a traditional 1k1 soul deck while still relying on standby for utility. But since it's a little bit different, since Kaguya uses the standby for the utility part while using the 1k1 since the 3-2 Kaguya is the 1k1 that finishes. So I had to, since it doesn't parallel completely, I had to do something different, which was use the 1k1 climax combos in the set as my utility, and while vice gripping the now only 2 Kurumis to basically end my finish, to get my finish turn more consistently. So like, I tested different 1-steps from the choice climax combo from the Data Bullet set. I've tested a compression choice build. I even tested book standby, and even the gold bar standby from Data Bullet. And after testing rigorously, I came to the conclusion that playing the level 1 Kotori 1-step is a lot better, because it follows a similar logic of twin driving, because since the climax allows you to dig deeper, and if you hit both checks, not only does the Kotori get easily pay for itself by hitting the first check, but you hit a +1 if you hit the second check. And even if you don't hit a character or an event on the second check and you hit something like a standby, you get to not only push for more damage, but also replace one of your other lanes that you've sacrificed already. And the benefit of playing this choice standby build was it allowed me to tech in some pieces that helped me win the Mushoku matchup. So you're gonna see a lot of this deck is, instead of gearing towards board setups, it's now geared towards board breaking. So before we get onto the deck profile, I just want to remind you guys, please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. And let's get on to the deck profile. So we're still running the so we're running 4 choice and 4 standby. So for the level 0, we replaced the Arisu Toka with this with 4 copies of the clean cut Toka. The reason for this is you need to be able to sustain boards at level 0 now. And since the Toka Arisu was a lot better in 8 standby, and we're not playing that, I had to retool my 0 step in order to focus more on occurring advantage and maintaining board states at the early game before I can set up that board breaking setup. So we're playing 3 copies of the Unfading Memory Sawa. So this card is actually from Data Bullet, and she has the ability that when an ability, which is you pay 1 if you have 2 cards, 2 or less cards in memory. You can check up to the top 3 cards of your deck. You can add 1 Celestial Spirit or date character from among them, send the rest to the waiting room, and then you send this to memory. So this is free memory compression, which allows you to dig for pieces that you can need. So this is your replacement for the Itsuka Shido level 0, because this allows you to basically compress your deck by 1 card by getting rid of this permanently from the game. And since it has the memory condition of 2 or less, you only play 3 copies of this. Continuing on with the 0 step, we play 3 copies of the Frenzied Nightmare Kurumi, which is our search brainstorm. So I decided not to play the bounce brainstorm because I needed not only a plussing brainstorm, but yellow for the deck, since I'm taking out the Shido in place for the Sawa. So one way to add in yellow is to play the yellow brainstorm. And in testing, this card actually is pretty good because it doesn't give the same level of power increase as the Toka does, which was a bounce and give a character 1k. This one is just basically at the beginning of your climax phase, give a character 500, but that 500 is still enough to allow you to cross power thresholds and help you break their boards, which is really nice. So we played as a 3 of. I've been thinking about upping this to 4, but with since we need the other utility stuff, utility zeros, I had to keep this at 3. And we're still keeping a very slim 0 step because we're running a lot of our board breaking strategy starts at the level 1, so we needed to cut down the zeros to make room for that. So continuing on with the level 0s, we play 2 copies of the Nightmare or Queen Kurumi. So this card is just basically your standard search Riki, but instead of paying 1 and putting the top card of your deck to the clock, you get to choose a card from the waiting room and put it to the bottom of your clock. So this helps you color fix and helps you get out of those situations where your opponent might try to lock you into level 1, and so lock you out of reaching level 1 first. So this helps you get to level 1 so you can get your level 1 combo going and just building your resources in order to just occur advantage. So we play 2 copies of the Riki for that. Then we play 2 copies of the Kotori Itsuka Fugajiro. So it has 2 abilities. The first one is on attack, give another character plus 1k, and then when it's sent to the waiting room, you get to activate the Fukajiro effect, which is discard a card, check up to the top 4 cards of your deck, and then add a level 1 or higher card from among them and send the rest to the waiting room. Next, we play 1 copy of the Shido Pin Down. So we're mainly playing this for the second ability, since the first ability is just if you're running the 1/1 origami vanilla, but we're not running that. So we're running this for the second ability, which is you can tap this card, select one of your other characters, and it gains the ability when it reverses an opponent's character by battle. Your opponent heals the top card of their clock to waiting room, and then you put that reverse character into clock. So this allows you to bypass on death effects like the Fukujiro on revert. It also helps you bypass certain on reverse abilities like those that go into memory, like the 00 Pira. I know Hololive has those on reverse, go into memory. Fate has those. So this helps you kind of punish those abilities by kicking them into clock instead. So they're kind of stuck in that situation. And if you go against even Slime and you crack their board and you decide to use the effect on against one of the Shizus, they still have to top check, but at least you get to kick one of them and cheat them out of building that memory compression. So that's why I played as a one of. You only need it when in those specific matchups. So when you don't need it, you just freely clock it. And then to wrap up our level 0s, we play 1 copy of the Fight Between Equals Kurumi, which is your climax swapper. So now continuing on with the 1-step, we play 4 copies of the Reliable Sister Kotori. So this is your level 1 climax combo that pairs with the choice. So when this choice is in play during the battle step, as soon as you declare your attack, you get to activate the climax combo ability, which is you get to check the top 2 cards, and for each card revealed, if that card is a date or celestial spirit character or event, you can add it to your hand. So you basically continue checking until you finish the check 2, or if you check a climax. So if you check a climax on the first check, you don't get to resolve the second check. So you have to do it one at a time. And so this means you have to be very careful on how you sequence this effect, as it can bite you in the ass. But if you do it right, this card is not only going to pay for itself by grabbing 1 character, but also plus you 1 by adding you an additional character. So this card is here just to help you occur advantage, since Data Live struggled with getting hand, and the choice combo technique just literally solves that. And another benefit of it too is it allows you to push damage, which is a side benefit. Continuing on with the 1-step, we play 2 copies of Imperturbable Kurumi. So you're basically using this for the ability, you can send this card from the field to the waiting room and give another character plus 2k. And it also has another Fukujiro like ability, which is when this is sent from field to the waiting room, you can check up to the top 4 cards of your deck, and if one of them is a climax, you may add it to your hand and discard a card. So this allows you to dig for you're mainly just digging for your level 1 combo, so you can essentially loop it, since we're not playing any recursion climax triggers like pants. So this allows you to kind of do that without worrying about having a pants trigger. And plus, since it gives a plus 2k by just sending this from stage to waiting room to another character, allows you to easily crack your opponent's board. And we're mainly using it for that ability to pump and mill, so you can see it fulfills both, which is a deck speed card as well as a utility card for board breaking. Next, we play 2 copies of a chance meeting Kurumi, which is a level 1 bomb that has the ability, when it comes into play, you can give another character plus 1k. So this allows you to, with the Shido, when you go up against a standby matchup, break 2 lanes. And since you're most likely going to give this Kurumi the on reverse clock swap, this allows you to guarantee to open up a lane without having to rely on reversing it, which is why I like this card. This deck runs about 12 level 1s, so we have about 4 more left. So the other addition to the level 1s that we play is original appearance Hibiki. So this Hibiki has a memory ability, a recollection ability, which is if you have a card in memory, it gains 1500 plus 2500, and the ability when it battles a level 2, it gains 6k. So this is when it goes up against standby 2/2s, a 12-5 beat stick. And when, especially since most 2/2s that are going to be standby have hand on core, when you pair it with the Shido, you get to front that character for 13k, and you get to clock kick it. So this allows you to break their board really easy, both the level 1 bomb and the level 2 Hibiki help you crack those standby boards, since this deck doesn't normally, if you try to build it like just straightforward, meet the power thresholds enough to contest board states by decks like Mushoku Tensei. Heck, it struggles even against 8 standby Ruby or even 8 standby trying to think of 8 standby Sal. So this allows you to kind of crack their lanes really easy, and it's just a really good complement with the Shido. So that's why I like playing 2, since you want to be able to have a copy available, since you might stock the other one or waiting from the other one. So that's why I play this at 2 instead of my normal idea of playing it at 1. And then lastly, for the level 1s, we play the Swiss Army knife of the deck, which is 2 copies of My Little Shido. And if you aren't familiar with My Little Shido, this basically has the effect, you get to tap a character and choose one of the following abilities. One is a top 4 check to add a date or celestial spirit character. The other one is a level down an opponent's character. You send a character from your opponent's stage to the waiting room, and they switch it with a character that's less than the card that you sent to the that you leveled down. So this allows you to kind of just help break standby boards, as well as recur any level 3s that you need to close out the game. Or heck, if you need to mill out more, you can just tap cards like the Sawa to essentially mill 7, which is really good. Or you can even tap the Kome or the Climax Fukujiro to mill 8. So this allows you to kind of have built-in extra deck speed without having to commit more resources, as this is not only a deck speed card but a board breaking event, as well as a recursion tool. So this is just your Swiss Army knife in 1 card, and I'm surprised they didn't hit this. But then again, most style decks didn't run this when it was at the peak. Next, I play 2 copies of the refresh counter. If you remember from my last video, I already explained the effect of the refresh backup. So the only thing that changed besides the 1 step is my ratio for 3 step. Since we're not playing 8 standby, I feel like 3 copies of the Tutu Kurumi is more than enough, since you're basically just banking on either triggering it off of the attack or drawing into it without the choice. So you're rarely standby with this deck, so just having a standby target available is just just more resources to kind of build up. And then now entering to the level 3s, we play 1 copy of the Ifrit Kotori. So I'm mainly playing this for the battle step ability, which is on attack, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a celestial spirit or an event, burn 1. So this allows you to eke out advantage, and it's an easy standby target that allows you to just a free 2 instances of damage when you attack, which is really nice. Next, we play 2 copies of the To Save Spirits Kotori, which is a 2k backup, which has multiple on-play abilities. One of them is a plus 1001 soul. The other one is salvaging a card from your graveyard to your hand, or top 3 checking. So this allows you to just dig for whatever you need and help you close out the game. Next, we play 2 copies of the early play Toka healer, 2 copies of the Kurumi 3-2, which is a Icy Tail for 5 and on play heal, as well as an on reverse memory kick, which is a pretty interesting lineup of effects for level 3, but at least it's not like this one, which is the 3-2 Kurumi from the first set of Dal, which has the ability, which she can, when you play the standby, you get to choose one of 3 abilities. One is to shuffle back cards from the waiting room to the deck to decompress them and to push for damage. Another one is to discard to burn 3, and the other one is a stock swap event. So this allows you a bunch of utility, and I can understand it why it being hit to 2 instead of staying at 4, even though I feel like with the other hits, this at 4 is very negligible. But it's not, my opinion doesn't really influence a lot of decisions anyway, but that's just my 2 cents. So this Kurumi once again just is paired with this standby combo. So one of the combos is a burn, discard 2 to burn 3. Let me just double check. Yep. The other one is shuffle 3 characters from your opponent's waiting room back into the deck, and then it just helps you decompress your deck to make sure future damage sticks. And the last one is discard 2 cards from your hand and burn 3. So overall, this deck is really fun. It's really consistent when you understand the sequencing, and it just makes it all the more fun to just build Dal in the format that we're in right now, because most Dal decks are focusing on board building. But now with the meta becoming more aggressive, I do believe we have to focus now on board breaking and damage pushing. So I hope you guys like this deck profile. We'll be doing more videos like this in the near future. The next video I will be doing is going to be a deck building video, a table talk on Psychonal. And the reason why is last week Psychonal Fine came out, and I pre-ordered a play set of Psychonal Fine, and it's actually coming into the mail today as of recording this video. So when you see the next video after this, it's going to be a table talk of me kind of going through, after looking through the set, narrowing down what I'm going to be using to modify my current build of Psychonal. So I hope you guys like this video. I am going to be posting more videos like this in the near future. I do have a post Banlist Kaguya list that I'm working on, and I hope to bring you guys that. I'm also working on a Hololive list to showcase to you guys, as well as a Mushoku Tensei 8 standby list that I've been working on as well. So I have a lot of decks in the wheelhouse right now that I'm kind of just building up and tweaking. So you're gonna see more videos like that very soon, as well as I am going to be doing some discussion videos again I have some topics that I want to talk about, but I'm not gonna spoil any right now. So once again, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, balls crack the like button, and stay on point, guys.